Hey everybody, welcome to another Crofty Reviews demo. This time round we're looking at the Electro Harmonix Small Stone Phaser. This is part of the Electro Harmonix Nano series, which are small chassis versions of some of their more popular models. You're able to pick up things like the single knob muff and the small clone and Holy Grail. I'm a big fan of the Holy Grail pedal, and the small clone is the pedal popularised by Kurt Cobain on songs such as Come As You Are. Now, according to the Electro Harmonix website, this is a thick sweeping phaser with liquid transparency. It features a very simple control setup, which is actually slightly more detailed than the more popular MXR Phase 90 pedal. It has the rate control, standard to almost every phaser ever made, and a colour switch. In the down position of the switch, what you get is a full and robust phase shift, according to the website again. And if you move it to the up position, it's going to be a more pronounced instance phase, which I'm not entirely certain what that means, but they've given some more detail saying it will basically hollow out the sound. I can see how that could be quite interesting to use in quite a lot of circumstances, because a slightly hollow phase sound could be really interesting in sort of bridges and running across a lead line where you've got quite a pronounced mid-range to some guitars. Running it with an all mahogany guitar like a Les Paul, you could hollow out a little bit of the mid-range that the guitar is famous for, and it will sort of pull back a little bit of the high end as well in my ears. Today I'm using a Fender Blacktop Telecaster, 2 humbuckers that I've modified for 2 volume controls and no tone control, and my Orange Micro Terror. Controls on that are set at 9 o'clock for the volume, 11 o'clock for the tone, and 9 o'clock for the gain. Okay, I'm going to play a simple chord progression just to show you how the phaser sounds, set at the 12 o'clock position on rate with the colour switch down. So as you can hear, it's quite a nice warbly phaser at the 12 o'clock position. It's similar to how most phase pedals react, but there's just something a little bit chunkier about it in certain places. So flicking the colour switch up, do the same chord progression again for you. From a frequency range perspective, you can see where the hollowing would occur, but to me, it just sounds a little bit beefier. Yeah, the hollowness doesn't seem to crop up there. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to take it right up to the top end, the fastest rate setting we have there, and I'm just going to play some really simple bluesy sounding chords so you can hear that sort of Leslie effect. To my ears, that's actually a lot more subtle than you'd expect, but pulling it back to about 9 o'clock, sorry, about 3 o'clock, you can hear that phaser a little bit clearer. So at the full extreme, it almost disappears into the sound. I mean, if I was to exaggerate that with some overdrive, you'd probably hear it quite clearly. But from a clean tone, picked chords, the phase really isn't that apparent at the full end of things. Okay, so going backwards, drop it down to the very lowest setting, and I'll use some arpeggioed chords to give you the idea of how that would sound. So as you can hear, it's a very slow phase. I'll just play you one held chord so you can see how long it takes to pick up. It's got a very long sweep to the phaser, which is quite nice. I mean, you can use it as a highlight to certain chords rather than the obvious phaser sound that was popularised by certain guitarists. But moving it to that 9 o'clock position with the colour switch up, I like this sound. This is kind of a... It sounds quite right to me. This is probably the best way I've found of using this pedal for how I like my phasers to sound. It just gives everything a real steady swell, which to my ears is quite pleasing. But you can also find quite a nice one with the colour switch down and the effect set at about 11 o'clock. As you can hear, that's just real nice, real clear. What I'm going to do now is attempt a little bit of soloing with the pedal, just to show you how it picks up with some distortion. And I'm going to be adding in a Proco Rat that I've recently bought to show you how that will all sound. Okay, so as you can hear from my amplifier humming away there, the Proco Rat is engaged. I've got the controls set at 12 o'clock for distortion, 10 o'clock for the filter, and 12 o'clock for the volume, just to give it a nice fat lead tone. Controls for the Small Stone are at 9 o'clock for the rate control and the colour switch up. I'm going to be reviewing the Proco Rat in another video, but I'd have to say this is probably one of my favourite distortion pedals that is being manufactured today. Anyway, here's the unphased lead sound. So as you can hear from a slow phase setting, you get a swelling, a very extreme swelling sensation from the distorted tone, which I would consider using that sort of sound underneath a vocal part as well, where as a lead guitarist you've been given some space to fill, or as the only guitarist in the band, the bassist and drummer are holding down the chord progression. But what I'm going to do now is flick it around to the colour switch down and the rate up at 2 o'clock, just to show you the slightly faster, slightly Leslie-like lead tone. As you can hear, the more the rate picks up, the fatter sounding and the more sort of chunky the phase with the lead gets. Works quite nicely on chords with a slow sweep and some palm muting, so I'll give that a go for you now. I'm going to switch it back to my choice of settings, the phaser at 10, 11 o'clock, the colour switch down. Proco Rat is going to stay exactly the same, but I'll be switching across to the bridge pickup to give some more chunk to the sound. So, here we go. Works really nicely for some just consistent rhythms to give it that rise and swell, as you heard from the demo just there. So I'm going to play you some broken rhythm type stuff, just with a bit of distortion, to give you an idea of how the sweep on the phaser will pick up for kind of chunky, little bit punk rock kind of sound. So as you can hear, although it wouldn't be commonly used by most punk guitarists who seem to have an aversion to effects pedals, you can use that little bit of phaser to add some colour to the sound and really bulk it out. This has been a Crofty Reviews demo of the Electro Harmonix Small Stone phase shifter from the Nano series of pedals, and I'm going to play you out with chunky kind of post-hardcore alternative rock sort of riff. Thanks for watching, and I hope you come back.